I always encourage people to actually make sure that they have a good representation of the market. What that means is that you have to travel outside of Tier 1 cities into Tier 3, Tier 4 cities to really understand how healthcare is being done in different parts of China. Because the coastal cities in China tend to be wealthier with better infrastructure. In China today, hospitals range from what they call level 3, these are super specialty hospitals, all the way out to level 1 hospitals, which tend to be more primary care type facilities with less amounts of infrastructure. And so capturing that range as you think about designing for a market like China is really important. One of the things that struck me the most about China is walking into a hospital lobby and just being jammed. I mean, it's just jammed with people. Starting at 7 in the morning, all you see is just people, people, people. I mean, let me give you some numbers as an example, right? So, in the company that I work at, we focus in the space of infusions. China has roughly about 13.5 billion IV infusions happen in a year. What that means from a pure numbers perspective, so just put things in perspective, the size of the US market from an infusion perspective is only 2 billion. So China is roughly about 7 times that size. And if you think about volumes of patients, so a hospital outpatient, typical level 3 hospital in China, could see anywhere from like 5,000 to 8,000 patients in outpatient in a day. So high-end care in China doesn't necessarily look the way it does in the US. I mean, doctors hardly have any time for patients. The hospitals themselves are jam-packed with people. One of the most striking things that I remember about first moving to Shanghai was walking into a hospital and actually seeing an outpatient infusion center. And it was the most bizarre thing I ever seen in my life, because literally what it was like a dialysis center, except that they weren't sitting by HD machines, they were sitting by IV poles. And an outpatient infusion center, and it starts when you're a kid, so you have pediatric hospitals that have poor babies that are crying and screaming, right? Out to adult general hospitals where you see the same thing. And the one common thing is just there's tons of people everywhere. Now, there will be empty hospitals. So you will find empty hospitals. The reason why they're empty is because the quality of care is not good. And in a market like China where people have to pay out of pocket for care, right? If you have to pay anything, you want to go find the best doctor, the best facility. So it's almost skewed in that way in terms of what you see, because you get a lot of patients in the top tier hospitals and very, very few actually in the lower tier hospitals, which is a problem actually for China. My favorite story to tell is south of the river, so the Yangtze River in China, they don't have central heating. And I remember being in a tier 3 city in China, and by the way, when I say tier 3 city, it still had 4 million people, in the largest hospital in that city. And it was the dead of winter. It was 32 degrees Fahrenheit. There were patients in the corridors, freezing, wrapped up in blankets. And they actually had to have a little sort of, I don't think you see this anywhere else in the world probably, but IV warming devices. So they had to warm the fluid up before it got to the patient. And the doctor was bundled up in like 4 layers because there's no central heating. That's just such a different environment altogether. So that in many ways, I think, is that disparity, right, of what exists across the country.